Have you ever found yourself wanting to make new friends, but with no idea how to break into a new social circle? Well, I moved 12 times growing up, so I've been the new person a lot. And I found that if you ask the right questions, you can connect so deeply with people that those same social circles will welcome you to join them, as if they've known you forever. So in this video, we're going to be looking at what those questions are, when exactly you should be asking them, and if someone's answer means they're a good fit for a friendship. The first thing we need to understand is exactly which questions will connect you with someone and which questions will bore them to death. Think back to your college orientation day. Okay, for us, we were split into groups of like 10 to 15, and everyone was asked the questions, what's your name, where are you from, and what's a fun fact about you? And then you do that in a different group, and then a different group, and then a different group, and by the fifth group, you want to just hear the word fun fact again. You could call these questions conversational potholes, right? If you're on the road to connecting with someone, these questions are potholes where you get stuck. They keep you from moving forward towards actually getting to know them. And now think back to a different scenario, the first friend you made in your dorms. For me, it was this guy on the 8th floor who asked me a question about my relationship I had never been asked before. Literally, 4 times I told him, wow, that's a good question. These are power questions. They're questions that make you feel heard and understood, like you get to share a part of yourself that you've never shared before. In conversations, we want to avoid pothole questions and ask more power questions. And there's 3 things that can create a power question, and each one gets more important than the last. Point number 1, imagine you're sitting in a coffee shop with someone, right? And in between bites of a croissant, you ask them, hey, what's your deepest, darkest insecurity? Not a great question. And the reason it's not a great question is because it was not anchored to anything in the conversation. That question was not relevant. A power question needs to be relevant to the topics at hand. Number 2, asking a question is not like a magic spell, right? That makes someone fall in love with you. The curiosity behind it needs to be genuine, right? So the power questions we ask need to be real. It needs to be something we're genuinely invested in hearing about, something that we actually want to know about the other person. And number 3 is the most important one. We don't want our questions to be like college orientation day. We don't want it to be a question that anyone could ask, that you get asked over and over and over in front of every single group you talk to. We want our questions to be rare. And rare is a lot easier than you think. People very often ask what and when questions. Hey, what is this? Oh, when did you do this? These are very one-dimensional questions with very one-dimensional answers, right? All it takes is a sentence to answer that, and it's not really pushing the conversation forward. On the other hand, why and who questions are a lot more rare, and they help you get deeper in a conversation. Let me give you an example. If I tell you I'm interested in close-up magic, you can ask, oh, hey, what is that? When did you get into that? These are good and fine questions, but they're not rare. They're very easy to ask. Contrasted with why. Why did you get into that? Why was it so unique to you compared to your other hobbies? Who got you into that? Who are your inspirations in magic? Who do you want to be the most like in your journey as a magician? These are power questions because they make you pause. They give you a moment to think and share a part of yourself that you might not have gotten to share before. But even if your questions tick all 3 of these boxes, even if they're relevant, real, and rare, we need to know when to ask them. Because if you're not asking these questions at the right time, they're not going to make anyone love you. In fact, we might be accomplishing the opposite. And there's a very common conversational mistake that shows that you're asking questions at the wrong times. Imagine that you and I are playing a game of Battleship. You know, with the blue board and the white and red and the ship. You know what I'm talking about. My move, I say E4. And you tell me, well, you got a ship. Your turn? No, let's go with my turn again, B3. My turn again, F6. And I keep guessing and guessing and guessing, not even giving you one chance to try to ask something about my board. It sounds silly in the context of a game like Battleship, but this is what a lot of us are doing in our conversations. We keep asking questions because we know asking is the right thing to do. We keep getting answers in return, but we don't ever share anything about ourselves. We're forgetting that connection is a 2-way street, and we're leaving the other person feeling like they're being interviewed, or worse, interrogated. But there's one solution that can make sure your ratio is even, that the information's flowing evenly both ways. Let me show you an example. Let's say you just told me you're interested in magic, and I tell you, oh, that's very interesting. I tried like 8 or 9 different hobbies growing up, and I kept quitting every single one. And then piano, for some reason, just stuck to me because there's something very elegant about the way music was composed. What was that moment for you that made magic stick so much compared to every other hobby you tried? In the act of asking a question, I have answered it first, right? Instead of putting you on the spot and requiring you to ask follow-up questions to me or interview me with the same back and forth tennis match level we're going, if I answer my own questions with a statement first, I am giving you conversational threads for you to follow up on, for you to pull on more easily, so that both of us can get to know each other better. But we're not ready yet. Asking a question with the 3 R's, relevant, real, rare, and asking it at the right times is just the start, because we don't know what to do with the answers. And to figure that out, let's zoom out for just a moment and realize, what is the goal of asking questions? The point is not just to ask for the sake of asking. The goal is to connect and ideally move towards a friendship, right? And a friendship, a real genuine connection, requires compatibility. If you don't know how to evaluate someone's answers for compatibility, it does not matter how many questions you ask. You'll be talking a lot, but you're not any closer to making new friendships. And we can easily evaluate compatibility on 2 levels. The first level is the topical. If someone's interested in close-up magic, hey, I'm interested in close-up magic. Maybe you share a hobby. Maybe you share an interest. Maybe you share a background. You're from the same city. You went to the same school. These are all ripe areas to begin a real connection. But topical compatibility is usually a coincidence, right? How many people are you walking around and running into that you share some really core, fundamental value or trait with? So we can also look at physical compatibility. This means judging everything around someone's answer. Not exactly what they say, but how they're saying it. What's their energy like when they're talking to you? How many questions do they ask in response? How reciprocal does the conversation feel? And does their body language feel like they are interested in talking to you? Like they actually want to be your friend? Looking at these 2 levels of compatibility, make sure all your bases are covered. It's not just people that you share a class with or a hometown with. It's people that like being around you and that you like being around. So if we're asking the right questions with the 3 R's, asking them at the right times and looking for the right answers, we're only missing one final piece. How do you join that conversation in the first place, right? When you walk into a party, there's specific psychology, both verbal and physical, that can guide you towards joining any group that you want to talk to. All that is broken down in this video. Check that out right now, and we'll talk soon.